بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Alright, cool. Alright, so I got a lot to get through and I have a little time to do it. So I need you guys to focus and work with me, alright? Alright, so how many of you guys seen the show FX 30 Days? You guys know what I'm talking about? There was a guy, this white guy from like Hickville, North Carolina. They brought him and they made him live with the Muslims in Canton, right? And they said for 30 days, alright, I need you guys to work with me, alright? So if you guys keep it down, inshallah, then we can get through this quick. I have 20 minutes and I have about 50 minutes material to get through. No, okay, let's go. We'll try to do it, inshallah. So FX 30 days, right? So this white guy, he's living with Muslims in Canton for 30 days, where he has to live as a Muslim, grow his beard, wear a topi, wear the kurta, the whole 9 yards. Right? So what they do is they take him to, I forget if it was Howell or Pinckney, Michigan. Either of those cities though was like Howell, Michigan, right? That's like non-Muslim friendly central. I don't want to say anything worse than that because it's being recorded. Okay? So he goes there and right, they have him do street dawah, right? So they give him pamphlets and he's on the street and he's like, hey man, would you like to know about Islam? And she's like, Islam? Right? And they just give him the dirtiest, like mean mugging, just like you guys do, right? Brothers who don't know each other here, just walk by. Just like, and we're Muslims, man. Why do you guys gotta mean mug each other? You know, just be nice. But these people were mean mugging him. They're like, man, this guy, he's wearing the kurta and the topi and the beard and stuff. So everybody's like looking bad at him, right? So the host of the show, I forget his name, he starts asking people in the street. He's like, all right, I'm gonna tell you something. And what I tell you, tell me the first thing that comes to your mind, right? So he says like, Jesus. And they're like, love. They're like Christianity, they're like charity. Then they're like, Islam. And they're like terrorism, bombs, men with beards, and blah, 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 blah. Right? And so that's the perception people have. Right? The Prophet ﷺ, he said that every religion has a defining characteristic. Right? So when I think of Christianity, I think of love and charity. I mean, I don't know if that's a defining characteristic, but that's what I think of. Right? Because that's the part of the propaganda and marketing and everything. And some Christians are like that too, but... So what is the defining characteristic of Islam? The Prophet ﷺ, the defining characteristic of Islam is Hayaa, modesty. Modesty, shyness. Now the definition of Hayaa is basically, it's modesty, it's shyness, but it's also anything, right, that stops you from doing something wrong. Or anything that pushes you to do something good. You know like those cartoon shows you have like the angel and the devil? Right, that angel is like just put like Hayaa like on his shirt. That's Hayaa for you. Right? Anytime you think you're doing something wrong and your modesty tells you not to, that's your Hayaa. Why am I mentioning that? Because in the Quran and the Sunnah, there's 4 types of Hayaa emphasized. Number 1 is Hayaa with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Having modesty and shyness with Allah. What does that mean? The Prophet ﷺ told his companions, have modesty of Allah as this is due right. And they said, we do that. We have that. And the Prophet said, no, that's not what I mean. He said to have modesty of Allah as this is due right, let one guard what his head contains. Let one guard what his head contains. So, what you see, what you hear. So instead of rolling up to the masjid bumping 50 cent, roll up to Sa'ad Rabidi, right? Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. I think we do that actually when I roll to the masjid. When you guys roll to school, that's a different story, right? Right? Guard what your head contains, from what you see, from what you do, from what you listen to, even your thoughts. Be careful how you think about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Sharia. Number 2, have Hayaa with angels. Oh, sorry, the second description is guard your stomach from what it contains. So most of us don't have this issue of eating haram. Right? But anything you don't eat haram is part of having modesty with Allah. Number 3, remember death and destruction. So let's say you have this, you set up, you have this plan in your mind that tonight when you go home, you're going to sneak out and you're going to go to a party at school, whatever. Think about that. When you, on your way to that party, you're going to die. Would you still do it? Probably not. As the Prophet said, remember Allah, the destroyer of pleasures, which is death. Remember death and destruction. The Prophet said lastly, that the one who is modest of Allah, he doesn't have attachment to this world. Or he's not attached to this world. So modesty with Allah. Number 2, why is this important? Because the defining characteristic of Islam is Hayaa. So this is something very, very important in our religion, in our teachings. And we don't hear about it enough. Number 2 is Hayaa with angels. For example, right, the example we gave when you go home and you want to watch that show and you're checking your back, is your mom and dad there? Think about this, that there are 2 angels with you right now seeing what you're doing. Would you still do what you're doing? If you know there's angels Allah has put over you that will always protect you, are you still going to do what you do? Probably not. Right? Even guys, I tell brothers this, like when you're at home, don't walk around without your shirt on or with like a white beater or something, like tank top. Because there's angels there, right? Even if you're like, yeah, I'm just chilling. No, dress modestly because the angels are with you. Right? Uthman was so modest that the angels were shy of Uthman. That's how modest he was. So your modesty with angels. Number 3, modesty with one another. With each other. Right? And the example of this, you're having gender relations talk tomorrow, right? The example of this is Musa alayhi salam. Right? He goes, he leaves, he kills, right? Musa, you know, the one punch, he punched one man and killed him with one punch. So he had to leave the city. He goes and he sees 2 women on the side in Midian who are trying to wait for water. They're waiting to water their flock of their cattle and whatnot. And so he asks them, he sees them and he sees, okay, there's all these men here around the well and there's these 2 sisters on the side. So he says, "Ma khatabukuma," you know, what's up? Like, or what do you need? Right? He didn't say, hey sisters, Assalamu alaikum, what's your name? You know, can I get your number, your email address, your G-chat? No, to the point. Right? When you interact with guys and girls, when you interact with each other, to the point. Ma khatabukuma. They said, we have to wait to get the water. So he goes and gets it for them. That's it. Then they leave and one of them comes back and Allah says that she comes back ala istihya. Tamshi ala istihya. She came back walking with modesty. What does the scholars say? What does that mean? 2 things. 1, she covered herself properly. Even Umar Khattab said that she even covered her face out of her modesty. And 2, when they were walking back, who walked in front of who? Musa alayhi salam walked in front of the sister. And how would she give him directions? By throwing a rock. Turn right, you know, turn right on Ford Road, turn left, right? Just throw a rock and Musa knew which way to go. He wouldn't even walk behind her because he knew just the concept of lowering your gaze and things like this. So modesty with one another. And this issue of gender relations, by the way, is very, it's strong, right? Especially now in your age. The desires that you have and the hormones running through your body are very strong. Right? Imagine this scene. Imagine you're with the Prophet ﷺ in the year before he dies, on Hajj, on his donkey with the Prophet. The Prophet's literally right in front of you. You could like hold him, you could touch him, you could kiss him. He's that close to you in Hajj. So Fadl bin Abbas had that situation. He was rolling with the Prophet in Hajj. And so here comes a young sister to ask the Prophet ﷺ a question. Right? And so Fadl bin Abbas, he just goes like this. And he starts looking. And so the Prophet ﷺ, how did he correct him? He just grabbed his cheek and he turned it away. Now if you were on the camel or in the car with your dad, and you check his sister out, you might just get, But the Prophet ﷺ was mu'allim. He was a teacher. He lowered his gaze. What happened to Fadl bin Abbas? On Hajj with the Prophet, his gaze again goes. A second time. And the Prophet ﷺ again turns his gaze away. A third time. On Hajj with the Prophet. That's how strong it is. Yeah. And the Prophet again turns his gaze and he says, Ya ibn akhi, O the son of my brother. Inna hadha yawmun. This we are in a day. Man ghadda basara. Wa hafidha farajah ghufira lah. Whoever lowers his gaze and guards his chastity, his sins will be forgiven. That's the Prophet ﷺ teaching. After that, he lowered his gaze. That's it. But that's how the Sahabi on Hajj with the Prophet, that's how strong it is. So don't ever think, guys pay attention, sisters pay attention. When you get in youth group work, when you get in MSA work, don't ever think that, okay, I mean, it's Islamic work, you know what I'm saying? I could chat with her online. No. Ibn Baz says that is khalwa. Talking with a girl online is considered khalwa. If it's legit, then give it to me in the next khutbah I give it, I'll read it out to everybody. Tell me if it's okay. Oh, brother, wait a minute now. I said it, you know what I'm saying? Have proper modesty with each other. Right? Hayaa with one another. And lastly, the 4th type of hayaa is hayaa with yourself. Now what's interesting, and I'm not going to spend time on that. Lastly, okay, briefly, hayaa with oneself means what? That if you do something in private, right, that if you did in public, people would blame you for it, that you wouldn't do in public because people would blame you for it. What does that mean? That means you are more worried about what somebody else will say about you than what you would say about yourself. Right, so have hayaa with yourself, hold yourself to high standards.